You tell me.
Hello? Yes, this is James N.E. Yes, I'm the grandson of Ned E. Williams. Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, first off, he earned his teaching certificate with no formal training. And the first school was named Greenville High School. And went to Gregg County Training School. And after he passed in 45, the board named the school after Ned. Wow. Wow, I never thought I would see this in my lifetime. Especially that it would be open again after segregation. Wow, this is amazing. Ned would be so proud.
Who's Ned?
Oh.
I'm Rashanique Williams, the great-granddaughter of Ned E. Williams and the curator of the Ned E. Williams Education Museum. I am here to answer the question, who is Ned? Ned was born in 1864 in September in Sabine, Texas, near Shelbyville. He was born to Parthenia Williams. Younger siblings, Jake, Della, and Ludi.
And we asked her what was it like? Slavery. We heard we were just picking up bits and pieces. Her conversation was, I don't want to talk about it. It was a bad time.
His family decided to move to Kansas with a lot of other community members. To find freedom. But they also had to ask themselves what freedom was at this point. After staying in Kansas for about a year, they decided to come back to Texas because they didn't have much luck there. On the way back to Sabine, Texas, they ran out of funds and decided to settle in the Mitchell Plantation of Gregg County. Ned starts to find books in various places and tries to teach himself how to read. When the owner of the Mitchell Plantation finds out about this, he actually encourages Ned to keep reading, and he starts to give him books. They have weekly meetings of reading comprehension. If Ned understood the book, Ned would get another one. But the books that he got from the Mitchell Plantation were not the only books that he read. After they settled on the Mitchell Plantation, Ned continued to read. He would do all his chores during the day, which was picking cotton, cleaning, and whatever other duties were asked of him. And then at night, he would read by candlelight. Can you imagine the perseverance and the gumption that must have been in his spirit to work all day for somebody else and then search for freedom at night? For Ned, books were freedom, but he was looking for even more. After Ned and his family returned from Kansas to Texas, Ned meets Ada Richardson at a church social. So all of Ned's studying paid off. The owner, Dr. Mitchell, saw how studious he was, and even his colleague, Professor F.A. Glenn. They both got together and they suggested that he take the teaching exam because they saw that Ned not only could read, he could comprehend. I mean, we're talking about a man who was reading Socrates. So he got a promotion to be a sharecropper. But you ought to know Ned by now. That wasn't even enough for him. And from this day forward, you never saw Ned without his signature bow tie and black suit. After Ned settled in his job in Fredonia, he married Ada Richardson from the White's Plantation in 1883. And from this union, they had 10 children. As a student in Tuskegee in the early 1900s, Ned meets Dr. Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver. Through this meeting, they speak about the Rosenwald Project. The Rosenwald Project gave African American communities funding to build and supply schools for black students between 1913 and 1932. By the time George Washington Carver visited Longview, he not only witnessed a brand new school, he witnessed a partnership between a son and a father. Now that Elsie had a couple of degrees under his belt, he was working right alongside his father as vice principal and also teaching classes. Elsie would be the one that the torch would be given to. The school would also be renamed Ned E. Williams. Of course, we know Ned was all about education. Another aspect of him is that he was all about family. From a son that was his vice principal to a daughter that taught in lower grades. He was all about family. Here's some of my family here to help me tell the story.
I'm Reverend Dr. Barbara Eustace Williams. I am the wife of James Nathaniel Elton Williams, who is the son of Elsie Williams. Now I am here to tell you his story. Elsie was a product of Elderville School District. Elsie married Eula Lee Booth in 1921. And to that union was born 3 sons: Edwin, Winston, and James N.E. Elsie believed in education. He graduated Prairie View, Wiley, and then went back to Prairie View to receive his master's degree. Elsie became principal after his father passed in 1946. He later became the first Black superintendent of Elderville School District. When I met Elsie in 1966, he was president of Butler College.
I'm Raquel Williams. I am the granddaughter of Elsie E.R. Williams, who we affectionately call Big Daddy, and I'm the great-granddaughter of Ned Williams. In 1964, my grandfather E.R. retired from the Nettie Williams School and became president of Butler College. In 1969, when I was born, my grandfather, E.R., was still president of Butler College. He later retired in 1971. Unfortunately, in 1974, my grandfather passed from a heart attack. I'm proud to say this is my 30th year in education, and me, along with a few of my other siblings, the candle is still lit inside of us.
As the only surviving member of the original family and a student of Ned E. Williams, here is James N. E. Williams, son of Elsie, grandson of Ned, and father to me.
School started at 8:30, and then the first class was at 9, so at 8:50 I would ring the first bell, 9, I'd ring another one, and then on throughout the day until the day ended at 3:30. That continued on even when I career and back. They had the same routine going. There were no electric bells, so we did it by hand. Had basketball and football. I had the pleasure of playing on the first football team in 1946, I believe. I don't remember the record, but we didn't do too bad. We had a volunteer coach who was also the bus driver, Mr. Mildred Jones. And he stayed with us as a bus driver and stayed with us as if he was one of the paid staff. Miss Lena B. Thurman Bradley, she was my first grade teacher. Miss E. May Jacobs, who later became principal of the school when my dad left.
As Ned passed the torch to Elsie, Elsie has now passed the torch to Dr. Dorcas Jackson, our beloved cousin and Ned's great-great-granddaughter.
It was a Harris County Alliance for Black Houston area Alliance for Black Educators, and I was sitting in this session, and Dr. McFarland, who was one of the superintendents in East Texas, he actually started doing a historical piece about the black superintendents in Texas. And as I was sitting there, I see my grandfather and my great-grandfather on the screen, and I immediately raised my hand, and Dr. McFarland says, yes. I said, that's my grandfather and that's my great-grandfather. He said, for real? I say, I promise you. He said to me, so are any of his children living? I said, I am, and his last living grandson, which is my dad, is still alive. And people are looking at me like, I said, I can't make this up. Though that is my lineage.
And who are you?
Well, I'm Cheney Elizabeth Williams Ledette. I am one of the grandchildren of Elsie Roscoe Williams, and I'm one of the great-grandchildren of Ned E. Williams.
I hope you've enjoyed watching this documentary. I enjoyed telling you who Ned was. But please, for further study, Please visit the Ned E. Williams Education Museum inside the Ned E. Williams STEM Academy in Longview, Texas. Thank you for watching.